Hey guys, Crypto Sunday, and it's been a sort of fairly slow week, really, with a little bit of volatility, considering it's the week after the inauguration. Trump is now in, and he's sort of flashing executive orders all over the place. I think people were maybe hoping for a little bit more, and probably expecting a little bit too much. But yeah, down about 18,000 for the week, about 3.5%. Considering last week, I think that's fair enough. Had the incredible gain last week and still above 500k. So yeah, all good. And I suppose most of this loss has come from Solana, sort of from the Trump meme coins and sort of big euphoria around Solana. That was sort of last Sunday, so that's kind of to be expected. But yeah, overall, sort of a lot of the coins are a bit of a mixed bag outside of Solana. Bitcoin not really down that much. But looking at the CoinShares report, got 2.2 billion of inflows this week after sort of a few quiet weeks. So that's been pretty good. Spread across a few different coins. 1.9 billion into Bitcoin, 246 million into Ethereum. So that's pretty good. Getting back to solid inflows. A little bit into multi-asset, not a lot at all. 2.5 million into Solana. 30.8 million into XRP, still seeing it sort of fly into XRP. Not sure if anything noticeable is actually going to happen with it yet, but still getting inflows. A little bit into Litecoin, Cardano, 2.4 million, 2.8 into Chainlink. It's quite good. People taking a bit of profit on short Bitcoin or taking a bit of loss maybe. And 6.1 million into others. So that's pretty good. By country, almost all green except a little bit from Sweden and a very little bit from Germany. Everyone else, Australia, Brazil, Canada, a little bit into Hong Kong, all green, and quite a lot into Switzerland, 88.9 million. So that's pretty good. And yeah, 2.099 billion into the US, of course. Looking at the more recent flows, so the last week on Ethereum has been pretty good. Monday being the bank holiday for the inauguration, and then yeah, 74 million, 70 million, and then sort of 2 quiet days on Ethereum. So their flows will look pretty good for next week. And then Bitcoin looking very solid. So I don't think we had ARK's number last week in this, or reported this as just under $1 billion, and ARK's was positive on the Friday before. So yeah, $1.07 billion for last Friday. And then yeah, so Monday being the bank holiday again, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all sort of decent numbers really for BlackRock. Thursday and Friday slightly smaller, but you know they've gained what, over a billion, 1.3 billion there in a week, so they're very happy. I think they go up to 60 billion on the iShares Bitcoin, so extremely happy with that. I'm sure Larry's well chuffed. A little bit of outflow from Bitwise, 3 out of the 4 days. Sort of, admittedly, 42 million sort of erases most of that outflow, but yeah, people sort of not wanting to get into Bitwise at the moment. A little bit into, well, Friday was sort of a spread about day. 168 million into ARK, a little bit into Fidelity, and yeah, so overall, positive week. So we got an executive order from Trump in the first week. A lot of people were sort of maybe expecting a lot more than this. I think people were talking about almost immediately using the Exchange Stabilization Fund to buy Bitcoin, which sort of I think is more for emergency times. Not sure he really wants to sort of scupper his reputation straight away by using a emergency fund essentially to buy Bitcoin at pretty much all-time highs, albeit he has launched a meme coin, so reputation is maybe not top of his agenda. But yeah, sort of people are noting, obviously, executive orders don't actually carry that much legal weight. It's more sort of a point of intention and something that you do, straight away to then have something a bit more meaty go through legislation. But that sort of reminds everyone that, this could take a number of months, really. A lot of people getting very, very worked up that, it was sort of initially at the crypto conference back last year in Nashville. It was called the Bitcoin, the media was calling it a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Trump used the word stockpile, and now it's come in the executive order to evaluate the possibility of a digital asset stockpile. So, yeah, not reserve, stockpile. That sort of would potentially indicate that they're not buying it. They sort of stockpile what they have, and then not Bitcoin, digital assets. So there's a lot of speculation that this could be possibly just Bitcoin and XRP, which I think would be an absolute disaster. I think Brad Garlinghouse and the Ripple team are sort of talking with Trump quite often and, trying to get XRP in there, and from the sounds of it, sort of discrediting Bitcoin and, Bitcoin mining and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, we sometimes thank Ripple for their, legal fights against the SEC and all sorts. They sort of helped a great deal in that, but I think they're back to being enemy number one, basically. So the executive order creates a working group chaired by Trump's crypto czar, David Sachs, and they've sort of since made it very, very clear that they are evaluating the potential creation and maintenance of a national digital asset stockpile. So, yeah, it's in the evaluation stage, and it looks like they've got Senator Cynthia Lummis sort of in there as well to sort of head up an evaluation into this. But everyone's sort of very unhappy with basically the word evaluation. I think they wanted it day one, which really was never going to happen. So something that isn't in the evaluation stage and as just happens is rescinding of SAB 121 by the SEC. So staff accounting bulletin, sort of basically meaning that banks couldn't do a huge amount with crypto. This was sort of, if people want to custody crypto with banks, then they were basically saying you have to treat that as a liability. And, basically the banks would want to hold sort of an equivalent amount of cash as an asset to offset that liability, and it's just, not worth doing, basically. So, yeah, it looks like SAB 122, the very next one, has been rescinding that original staff accounting bulletin. So, well done, Hester, also known as Crypto Mum in the crypto community. She's sort of not taken the chair role. Mark Ueda is sort of acting chairman, and they were both sort of seen as the pro crypto side of the SEC. And we've got sort of Paul Atkins, it looks like, being sworn in. So it'll be, at the very worst case, if you like, 3 versus 2, you would think. So yeah, well done, Hester. I mean, it does look like the gloves are off now that Gary Gensler is out. Hester tweeted, bye-bye, SAB21. It's not been fun. A little bit strongly worded, maybe. She called us SAB 121 a pernicious weed back in April 2023 and has been sort of very critical of it. And yeah, basically the very next one is rescinding that guidance. Obviously, it doesn't take long to get rid of it, I suppose, because it was only guidance. But the whole industry sort of follows that, I suppose. And yeah, you would expect a lot of banks with sort of crypto at all-time highs to be foaming at the mouth wanting to now get into crypto. So we'll see what happens, whether this means more custody, whether this means Coinbase maybe have a bit of competition from banks wanting to sort of custody crypto, maybe for some of the ETFs. Companies, issuers may sort of see Bank of New York Mellon or other sort of big banks. I think Bank of New York Mellon were sort of exempt from this anyway, but a JP Morgan, would you leave your crypto with JP Morgan rather than Coinbase? I would expect to see some competition for them. But yeah, see what the banks want to do. I think it's important to review Trump's sort of crypto promises, pledges that he was sort of making before the election, and sort of how he's doing, because I think, as I say, people are getting a little worked up that not enough has happened, and it's sort of been 5 days, 4 days really. The inauguration you would say doesn't really count. Some sort of vague stuff about making the US the world's crypto capital. I think sort of with everything else, that has gone through, people are sort of looking to maybe return to the US now that they're not so hostile. Fire Gary Gensler, he said he would do that. Obviously, Gary resigned as soon as Trump won the election, so count that as done. Establish strategic Bitcoin reserve. I think this is probably the most difficult to do one, and you can sort of give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt for not getting it done straight away, if ever, really. But you could probably say preventing the US from selling its Bitcoin holdings. It does appear that they haven't sold the Silk Road Bitcoin or the sort of Bitfinex hack Bitcoin yet. It's still up in the air whether they will have to, but it seems so far they haven't sold. Halt further US government development of a CBDC. Appears to be legislation that has gone in regarding that to halt the CBDC. So, fair enough. Comprehensive cryptocurrency policy. Obviously, that is going to take months and months. I don't think anyone would expect that to be, within the first week. Cease hostilities against cryptocurrency within an hour of taking office. I think sort of that goes in line with Gary Gensler leaving and sort of a more pro-crypto SEC and sort of lots and lots of appointments, really. Scott Bessent in Treasury Secretary. That sort of does provide some help, and yeah, I would say they're ceasing hostilities so far. They may not have scrapped some of the lawsuits, but yeah, I wouldn't exactly say they're hostile to the industry now. So yeah, we'd count that one as sort of partly done, if you like. Similarly, sort of ending the US government's unlawful crackdown on the crypto industry. They're exposing sort of choke point 2.0, and you would think so far maybe are looking a little bit more friendly. Recommend using crypto to address the US debt issues. I don't think that's really possible at all. That would take many, many years, and even sort of a strategic Bitcoin reserve isn't really going to make a huge dent in the debt. That sounds like sort of a bit of a pipe dream, pie in the sky sort of election talk, to be fair. And reduce the sentence of Silk Road founder Ross Ulbricht, and well, he is out, so that's not reducing the sentence. Whether you think he should have got out at all, what he did wasn't exactly great, but he was creating a sort of dark web marketplace, if you like. He wasn't sort of actually doing anything himself. I'm sure he wasn't really expecting it to be used in the way it was. There's sort of a lot of allegations that he was doing illegal stuff on there as well. But yeah, who knows? I think either way, sort of an entire life sentence without parole is probably a little bit strong. And he's been in there, I think he said 11 years. So yeah, that doesn't seem the worst thing in the world. I haven't really read into sort of super detail about what the sort of crimes he was alleged to have committed other than creating the website, whether he was organising assassinations and that sort of thing people have accused him of. But yeah, who knows. But yeah, as far as sort of a top 10, if you like, I would say within a week it's not too bad. So more ETF news. We sort of highlighted last week that a load of new ETFs were coming in for Solana and XRP and all sorts. But the options was sort of something they highlighted before. It's something that would bring new ETF possibilities, and yeah, you're now getting things like this, sort of using options to lower the downside potentially of Bitcoin. Sort of volatile, some people don't like that volatility. You can use options to protect against that. So there's an ETF with 100% downside protection using sort of cash and treasuries and options. And yeah, so you can get no downside at all. And the flip side of having that protection is that you get basically 10 to 11.5% upside potential over a 1 year period. So yeah, at the moment you can get sort of 4.5% just holding treasuries. So this sort of adds a little bit of spice to that, with sort of a reasonable amount of downside protection as well. So yeah, quite unusual. There's also two others, one that provides 90% downside protection and 28 to 30% upside, and one that provides 80% protection with 50 to 55% upside. So yeah, very unusual sort of institutions. Some institutions will like the idea of getting into Bitcoin without so much of the volatility, and this sort of thing is what Wall Street likes basically, and they charge fairly high fees on it. So you got iShares Bitcoin ETF, I think at 0.2%, I think, or 0.25%, and yeah, this sort of thing at 0.69%. So yeah, with those sort of various option strategies and complications comes a higher fee, and Wall Street likes that sort of thing. So we're getting Masari reports coming out for Q4, and sort of XRP was one of the first that sort of caught my eye. Not a token that I hold anymore, but I do keep an eye on it just to sort of see where the market is and sort of whether XRP are really justifying their price. So obviously this is first quarter since the election. The election was a third of the way through Q4, so 2/3 of this is since the election, and yeah, I would have to say their token price isn't worth the market cap or token. And I would have to say this rise in the circulating market cap doesn't appear to be worth the usage at the moment. So 119 billion circulating market cap as of a few weeks ago, and you sort of look at fully diluted, obviously they're closing in on Ethereum sort of at $2.08. It's now over $3, so yeah, even higher than that. Transaction fees are up 230% year on year, but that's in US dollars, so that just reflects the token going up in price. Average daily active addresses 55,000. It's up from up 100% from sort of last couple of quarters, but it was 41,000 in Q1 last year, 30,000 before that. So yeah, the token's sort of 5x, and daily active addresses are up 2x. Daily transactions 1.8 million, up 2.9% from before the election, basically 1.7, and it was 2.8 million in Q1 last year. So it's down 1 million transactions from sort of 9 months ago, basically 1.3 last year. So again, 500% of the price and 38% gain in daily transactions. New addresses, admittedly, new addresses are quite high, but that could just be people trading the price sort of based on the future adoption, basically, that so far doesn't appear to be there. You've got some volume metrics, sort of usage and issued currencies, market cap up quite a bit. Again, not it to the same proportion that the price of the token is up. And yeah, order book volume is up tremendously, but that is just sort of people trading the price. And obviously 7.9 million isn't all that much for a quarter anyway, so it's up a lot from previous quarters, but overall it still isn't that much. And NFT transactions, I know it's not really an NFT chain, so might be a bit harsh to compare, but NFT transactions are down 13% since last year, although up from previous quarters, admittedly. So yeah, I don't want to spend sort of too much on XRP since I don't hold it anymore, but I just thought it was worth highlighting sort of some of these numbers. Basically, this, as I say, this quarter is almost 2 months post-election, and the usage so far doesn't really appear to be there. You got transaction fees in XRP terms, which I would say is sort of what should be really looking at. 435,000, up from 318, it was 350, 317. So, yeah, 37% increase on last year, where the token is 500% or 400% up from last year. So, or 230, yeah, 238% they're showing here, but it is now 300, yeah, 400%. So, yeah, I think not looking great. Speaking of not looking great, of course, meme coins, official Trump coin. We all kind of knew that this was going to happen. It's sort of, at the moment, petering out to nothing. Obviously, it's only been out a week, and sort of not a lot of people would have been buying at the top. I'm sure people will say, if you come back to here, people were even buying way before $7. So some people have made an absolute fortune on it. It went to $70, and yeah, it's back down to 30. So I expect a lot of people have lost a reasonable amount of money since we're at sort of 6 billion market cap and 30 billion fully diluted for basically a nothing token. But there you go, that's crypto. On the sort of less well-off side seems to be the Melania coin. This was sort of the one that people really took exception with. A lot of this sort of buying on the upside was sort of basically people swapping Trump for Melania, and that sort of caused a lot of that drop, and people just saw this as a grift, really. So sort of started out on this chart, at least anyway. I'm sure people were buying it lower, but $7.41 got to $12.22 and is now all the way down at $2.70. So pretty much anyone that bought, spent a little bit of time yesterday at $2.30, $2.40. So you'd be slightly up, but other than that, pretty much anyone who bought is in the red now. So yeah, meme coins. And looking at coins for the week, I would say it's been reasonably good, as I say, other than Solana obviously sort of dropping back after that frenzy. Bitcoin is down about 3%, a little bit under. Solana is down 8.75%, so that's been a bit of a knock. Ethereum is pretty much flat. Chainlink up 7%, that's done quite well. Gala down 11%, Power Ledger up 1.2%, Quant Network down 5%, VeChain down 6%, Basic Attention Token down 1.6%, Internet Computer down 12.3%, Audius down 7.3%, Matic down 7.5%. So yeah, a lot of the smaller coins sort of got a reasonable amount knocked. But yeah, I'm kind of considering maybe consolidating some of these smaller holdings, maybe sort of going a little bit more all in the Solana ecosystem as such, sort of some of the tokens associated with it. I'm taking quite a good look at Radium, the sort of repository basically for where these meme coins all go, and sort of takes fees, and it uses those fees to sort of buy back the token. And yeah, it looks quite a solid protocol, really. Sort of 2 billion market cap, 4 billion fully diluted. So doesn't seem all that much, and they sort of got a real use. Well, if you think sort of meme coins are a use, they're at least sort of making money off other people doing well out of meme coins, and you're not picking on one sort of doing particularly well. Also looking at Helium, the mobile network, much smaller market cap, but yeah, numbers sort of look good. Actual people sort of paying monthly to use the mobile contract, and adoption sort of seems to be really good. Where the price is down, admittedly, it looks like they did get sued on the way out. It was sort of Gary Gensler's pretty much last move on the way out, so or maybe taking a gamble that the new administration sort of at some point throw this lawsuit out. But yeah, we'll see where that goes. But I may be sort of selling a few of these over the next week. We'll see. So leave your thoughts in comments below, and like and subscribe. See you soon.